So there is this teacher I knew ever since I started elementary school in the third grade. And just to keep things short, she was pretty sweet, but there was something off about her I couldn't describe yet. And rethinking all of these now, I wonder, how is she still keeping her job as a teacher? So I'm starting with I was in third grade, of course, and I'm a special needs student. I used to go on the special needs bus before. Now I'm currently on a regular bus, and while waiting, I was talking to her and I accidentally touched her chest, and she told me not to, and I didn't mean to, and I wanted to apologize to her, but another student, but I didn't, and I just felt like I couldn't say it. And the next day, it was pretty weird to me. A male student that goes to my school, who I talked about, that has SA'd me, he was grabbing both her breasts, and I got a really uncomfortable feeling about it, and she was telling him to not touch her there, but she wasn't. Now, what is the first thing you do when a child is touching your breast and you don't want them to? Do you do what she did and say in a very nonchalant tone, say don't, or like you discipline the child, of course, and talk about how touching somebody's private parts is very wrong? If you guess she did A, I hate to tell you the truth, but she did do A. Yeah, she didn't force him to stop. And she's the adult. She should know that a student should not sexually assault her or another kid, but she still allowed it. Anyway, and I remember it was the end of the day, and she was to pick me up to wait for the bus, and I bent down to pick up something, and she took a picture of my exposed lower back, and I was 8 to 9 years old at the time. I'm clearly still underage. And she had the nerve in her mind to do that. And thinking about this now, I'm questioning how I thought it was normal for a teacher to take a picture of me like that. And thinking about it now, I'm just so sick about it. And there's another thing too. One day in class, I was asking her what the date was. Okay, I should specify that I was in a special needs class. I was in a special needs class, and I asked her what the date was for work, and for some reason she said, "Oh, a date with me." And I remember being so uncomfortable because I was just asking her what the day was, and that was her response, and I was uncomfortable, and I told her that it wasn't what I meant. And another moment in class, we was keeping tallies to watch a movie with okay, it was like a party, and if we get enough tallies for good behavior, we can have a movie party with snacks. And I don't know why she reacted like this to this day, but I accidentally called her grandma. And she looked at me real funny, and she turned over to the whiteboard and just immediately started erasing the tallies with her hands. And I started apologizing because I didn't mean to. And then she said, it was all right. And she started marking the tallies back up again, but it wasn't at the original number as it was. And to this day, I am still shocked that she overreacted like that. And this is just weird. And when I was in 6th grade, when COVID was still up and families were dying, this was in 2021, early 2021, when people started to head back out again. And she came to the middle school for some reason. And I started to expose her for all of the things she did and how it was very, disgusting for an adult to do, especially because I'm a child, she's an adult, she shouldn't be doing this. And she was upset at me for exposing her, then apologizing, and she never apologized. She never apologized for doing any of that stuff to me. She never apologized for all of that. And that is one of the things that really makes me upset. You confront someone for their actions and they act like they never did that to you and start saying something like, oh, that was all in the past, or I didn't do any of that crap, get that shit out of your head. And that just makes me upset because they know they did it. They know what they've done. They just don't want to admit that they're obviously a horrible person. To this day, I have no idea what the hell was in her mind. And on the first week of my junior year this year, she was at the high school, and looking at her, you could tell one of these days she's probably gonna get exposed, because you shouldn't do that to a child. And God, this just makes me sick, because somehow most adults get away with this, and most of these never go reported because children like me, with disability or not, cannot speak up for themselves. And some of us some of us like me think that it's normal for people to treat us like that, and it's not. It should never be validated to prioritize an adult who did all of these things to the children and then blame the children for it when clearly the child doesn't know better and it's clearly the adult's fault, but they don't want to admit that. That's what's going on, really, is people not admitting that this person did a bad thing and should be punished for it, but they don't care enough to punish the person who's clearly involved in doing whatever they do. That's all from me today. Sorry for the vent. Bye.